All these negotiations happening in the WNBA, the league needs to realize that you cannot play in someone's face and not get clocked. Cue Paige Beckers. She entered the group chat this week to emphasize the conversation about what WNBA players are truly worth. We're gonna get to what she said because it was big. But before we get there, let's have some context as to why she said what she said. For those who are new, WNBA players have been underpaid for a very long time. And any self-respecting employee is going to ask their employer for more money, especially when they know the value that they bring. And there's always more leverage when a contract is coming up. But what happens when the employee is also the product, and the product is worth over $2 billion? And that $2 billion is a done deal. Keep in mind, that's just media deals alone. There's other deals that happen. Think about the court sponsors, the jersey sponsors. In the verbiage, players are the employees, and the WNBA, aka all the owners as well, are the employers. And the players have been trying to figure this out with the WNBA since last May, and they felt like they got dismissed, so they got the public involved. They wore these t-shirts at the All-Star game to signal that, hey, something's wrong. So at the end of the season, just before the WNBA finals kicks off, where the league is getting the most viewership, runner-up MVP and one of the most respected voices across basketball, Nafisa Collier, puts Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the league, the big boss, on blast. You could read this. And to make it more inflammatory, yeah, Nafisa said that this is what her boss told her. Now, Nafisa is just speaking towards her own experience, but also the frustration that's shared amongst the players. Now the pressure's on, everyone's watching. Now you got the commissioner trying to defend her name while trying to be politically correct. But that doesn't go too well because she basically called Nafisa's comments inaccurate. The commissioner says, hey girl, let's take this offline, let's have a meeting, aka out of the public eye. And to that, Nafisa says, how about no? Whatever you want to say to me, you can say it in front of all of us. Now, timelines are everything because all that back and forth happened mid-October. Now, the contract that the players are on ends on Halloween. Yeah, October 31st. You really can't rate this. At this point, everything's awkward and nothing's solved. So what does the WNBA say? They say, let's circle back in about a month. Now, you might be very surprised to hear this, but that month comes and that month goes and it is crickets. But then they say, I guess we gotta do another extension. This time to January 9th. Capricorn season, what can go wrong? They didn't mention any zodiac signs. And I know that this is super serious, but you kind of gotta laugh because it went from crazy to kind of ridiculous. You might be wondering, well, what are the players even asking for if it's taking this long? The answer is very simple. It's respect. Because in terms of salary, it's less about the numbers on the dotted line and more about the piece of the pie. Currently, the NBA gives their players about 50% of the overall revenue share. Currently, the WNBA, they make about 9% of the overall money that comes in. Put it this way, for every dollar that you make your company, imagine only taking home 9 cents and your company takes home 91 cents. That is how bad it is. So the WNBA is like, yo, can we get the same model as the NBA, please? Because like, you wouldn't even have a league without us, the players. Here's the thing, the NBA didn't always have 50%. Now, when you go back to the NBA in 1983, when they got that 50% deal, the state, the health, the livelihood of the NBA at the time is comparable to where the WNBA is now. And to add on to that, there's even evidence. There's receipts that the WNBA is in a better state than the NBA was when they were granted that 50% rev share model. So now the WNBA is saying, hey, we will give your best players the potential to make a maximum of $1.1 million. And it could be 1 or 2, maybe 3 players per team. And the minimum will be about $225,000. Which makes the average somewhere around $400,000 to $500,000. And that's up from the $249,000 max contract that they have right now. Well, that sounds great, right? Wrong. Those salaries are set rates. That is not rev share, that's not percentage. And to that, the league has said, let's bump you guys up from 9% to about 15%. How's that? Oh, but did we mention that there's a catch? The catch being that they're taking away player housing. Oh, and now I want to start our training camp as early as March. Oh, and if you miss training camp, you will be suspended. So now the WNBA is playing in other people's territory. Like, I don't know, the NCAA Women's March Madness Tournament, one of the biggest platforms in women's sports. And another territory they're crossing with that, off-season professional leagues where women make their current bag. And March is usually the start of the playoffs in those leagues. The WNBA is really coming in like, we're the main character, deal with it, and the players are saying, we won't. Last time I checked, CBAs are typically more about addition rather than subtraction. To paraphrase, they don't want their players prioritizing other income sources. And they're taking away their housing. If the league wants to do all that, then at least increase the revenue share to 50%. Now I get it, it's hard to ask your boss for basically a quintuple raise. The current WNBA max is only $249,000. There's other leagues like Project B that are valuing these same players for more than quintuple the amount that they're making right now in the league. WNBA is saying, we'll boost you to 1.1 million max salary. Project B is saying, we start our star players at $2 million. No questions asked. Oh, and we got you with an equity stake too. We'll go into Project B another time. That's why the players are not budging. So let's wrap this whole thing up with what Paige said. The WNBA Rookie of the Year, she said that we could bring more visibility and more eyes. They already have national media, commercials, brand deals, and that they are more than just players. They want to be compensated for basically their star power, which is not asking much when the bar is currently 9 cents to your dollar. She said these deadlines will probably continue to get extended. And if they keep on getting extended, then we're looking at a lockout, which is detrimental for all the work that the league and the players have built to get this far. The answer is very simple. Pay the players.